We actually don't know what these chambers were for. No burial of any pharaoh was ever found inside the Great Pyramid. In fact, there is a whole underworld at Giza. This is beginning to be recognized.
There is a conspiracy theory doing the rounds on the internet that a 7,000-year-old ostrich eggshell held at the Nubian Museum depicts a drawing of ancient Egyptian pyramids. Many of these theories reveal that the drawings are only abstract and used to engrave markings for decorations, telling a mythical story. Are the drawings truly mere markings for decorations? Or do they reveal, to us, a terrifying secret? From the Nagada culture to the heart of ancient Egypt, join us as we explore the mysteries of the 5,000-year-old map of America discovered in Egypt reveals terrifying secrets. The Nagada culture thrived in Egypt from 4000 to 3000 BCE, predating the Pharaonic period and playing a crucial role in ancient Egypt's development. This era was marked by notable achievements like the emergence of early settlements, progress in crafts, and the formation of trade routes, all of which shaped ancient Egyptian culture and politics. Scholars highlight these foundational elements as instrumental in the cultural and political evolution of Egypt. One fascinating aspect of Naqada civilization was its creation of diverse artifacts. These artifacts have significantly contributed to our comprehension of Egyptian societal structures, religious ideologies, and artistic styles, offering valuable insights into the dynamics of Nagada life and its lasting impact on ancient Egyptian civilization. Does the Nagada culture bask in its enigma? Is that where the mysterious egg is found? Let's delve deeper. The material culture found at Naqada sites displays variations corresponding to different phases of Naqada culture. Pottery excavated from these sites is particularly noteworthy, with each distinct cultural period showcasing its unique pottery styles. The range of pottery discovered at Naqada sites includes bowls, small jars, bottles, medium-sized neck jars, wine jars, and wavy-handled jars. The decorated pottery likely served cultural purposes, while the plain pottery was likely used for food storage and serving. This diversity in pottery types reflects the multifaceted uses and cultural significance of ceramics during the Naqada period. Evidence from various Naqada sites like Tel El Farka and Tel El Murra indicates the production of copper harpoons. These harpoons were primarily crafted for hunting Nile fauna, notably the hippopotamus in Naqada society. The significance of hunting these animals, particularly for the Naqada elite, reflects a status symbol, as access to copper, required for crafting such harpoons, was more readily available to the upper class than to commoners. Harpoons, apart from their primary function in hunting, held diverse roles within ancient societies, such as the Naqada culture. One notable function was their potential use in safeguarding trade routes, as evidenced by their presence at an ancient Egyptian port. The existence of harpoons in such locations implies their role in protecting trade caravans, underlining their significance beyond hunting tools. Additionally, harpoons carried symbolic weight in artistic and religious contexts. Their depiction in art and religious practices suggests a symbolic representation, possibly linked to mystical or magical hunting aspects associated with these weapons. This multifaceted role of harpoons underscores their diverse importance within Naqada society, extending beyond their utilitarian purpose. Numerous architectural features have been unearthed at various Naqada sites, including Tel El Farka, positioned approximately 14 kilometers east of El Sembilawine in Egypt. Excavations conducted at Tel El Farka have revealed compelling evidence of breweries dating back to the Naqada II period. Initially, these breweries were enclosed by wooden fences, likely serving to differentiate them from regular residential areas. Over time, these wooden enclosures were replaced by more robust mud brick walls, a transformation evident in the archaeological remains at Tel El Farka. The brewery complex at Tel El Farka is particularly noteworthy due to its layout featuring 13 consecutive vats within the structure, believed to have been utilized for brewing beer. The beer-making process at this site involved combining malted grains and porridge, followed by the extraction of the resulting liquid through sieving to produce beer. Such detailed insights into ancient brewing techniques shed light on the technological advancements and cultural practices of the Naqada society during this period, highlighting their sophistication in various domains beyond architecture and trade. Further exploration at Tel El Farka uncovered substantial structures, with one of the largest buildings positioned atop a mound and surrounded by thick mud brick fortifications. Within this structure, there are small rooms enclosed by walls measuring between 30 and 40 centimeters in thickness, indicating potential defensive functions of the construction, reflecting strategic urban planning in ancient settlements. The presence of fortified walls around the structure suggests defensive considerations in its construction. Additionally, the discovery of jars within this building implies its role as a storage facility or warehouse. During the Naqada I period, ancient Egyptians engaged in trade activities with various neighboring regions, including Nubia to the south, the western desert oases to the west, and cultures from the eastern Mediterranean to the east. Trade operations were likely overseen by the societal elite, indicating the economic and social significance of such settlements during this era. Moreover, interactions between the Naqada culture and lower Nubian cultures, notably the A culture group, are evident from material findings such as pottery, clothing, pallets, and stone vessels exchanged between these groups. Pottery items discovered in Nubian territories were frequently associated with burial sites, often in close proximity to human remains, underscoring cultural exchanges and trade networks prevalent during ancient times. These archaeological discoveries shed light on the economic, social, and cultural dynamics of ancient Egyptian societies and their interactions with neighboring civilizations. The enigma, the Nubian egg. The Nubia egg is not an ordinary artifact. It has sparked heated debates concerning ancient Egyptian civilization's origins, its knowledge of the Americas, and the timeline of its cultural evolution. Uncovered by British archaeologist Malab Cecil Feth in 1907, the egg now rests in the Museum of Nubia in southern Egypt, serving as a testament to the early stages of human settlement and societal development along the central Nile Valley, dating back approximately 7,000 years. The egg, crafted from an ostrich eggshell, features elaborate designs that have intrigued scholars for decades due to their abstract nature and disputed interpretations. The egg's central motifs consist of 3 triangles positioned on opposing sides, each embellished with horizontal lines. Adjacent to these geometric shapes is a sinuous depiction resembling a snake, while on the egg's opposite side lies a prominent globular etching. These symbols have been a focal point of scholarly analysis and conjecture, leading to diverse interpretations. Some researchers assert that the triangles symbolize pyramids, aligning with Egypt's iconic structures. The presence of 3 triangles correlates with the major pyramids found on the Giza plateau, the pyramids of Menkaure, Khafra, and Khufu. Furthermore, the snake motif is commonly interpreted as a representation of the Nile River, a vital geographic and cultural element for ancient Egyptians, especially those residing in Lower Egypt where the egg was discovered. However, contrary voices, often from mainstream historical perspectives, argue that the egg's drawings merely depict natural formations such as mountains, devoid of symbolic or cultural connotations. The egg's contentious imagery has led to broader debates about the sophistication of ancient civilizations and the transmission of knowledge across continents. Some scholars suggest that the depiction of pyramids, a hallmark of ancient Egyptian architecture and cultural identity, on an artifact predating conventional timelines, raises questions about pre-established historical narratives. Could the Nubia egg suggest earlier transoceanic interactions, or shared cultural motifs between ancient civilizations across continents? These inquiries fuel ongoing scholarly investigations into the egg's origins, its symbolic meanings, and its implications for understanding ancient societies' complexities and interconnectedness. It gets even more exciting. The egg features multiple concentric circles near its top, with at least 2 encircling a small opening. This aspect has evoked parallels with Plato's Critias, 360 BC. According to certain theorists, he described Atlantis as a land with alternating zones of sea and land, varying in size, surrounding each other. There were 2 zones of land and 3 of water, arranged in a way as if turned with a lathe, with each having a circumference equidistant from the center in all directions. The theory suggests that this artifact represents the most advanced civilizations of its time, namely Egypt and Atlantis. However, this theory faces numerous challenges. If there is a geographical connection, Atlantis and Egypt are in close proximity. Plato's description in Critias involves Poseidon creating this land out of love, yet we can physically observe and interact with the egg and the pyramids. In contrast, there is no confirmed evidence, despite various theories, that Atlantis existed in a tangible way that we can see or touch. Secrets of the Pyramid of Khufu. Egyptian pharaohs constructed the pyramids as elaborate tombs because they believed in their transformation into gods after death, preparing meticulously for their afterlife needs. The construction of the initial pyramid was initiated by Pharaoh Khufu. Subsequently, his son, Pharaoh Khafre, erected the second pyramid, slightly smaller, alongside the enigmatic limestone Sphinx believed to protect his resting place. The third pyramid, much smaller than its predecessors, was built by Pharaoh Menkaure and boasts a more complex interior temple, despite its reduced size. The 19th century marked a significant upsurge in fascination with ancient Egyptian civilization. Beginning in the 1830s, extensive excavations were initiated within the Great Pyramid of Giza. It was during this era that scholars definitively attributed the pyramid to Pharaoh Khufu. However, ongoing explorations within this monumental structure continue to unveil remarkable discoveries. A recent breakthrough, made possible by advancements in technology, involves the detection of a hidden chamber using cosmic ray imaging techniques. This newfound discovery reveals a substantial corridor spanning a length of 30 meters, strategically positioned above the pyramid's entrance, sparking widespread intrigue and inquiry. Numerous hypotheses have emerged concerning the intended purpose of this corridor. Some conjecture that it might have played a role in distributing and balancing the colossal weight of the pyramid, while others propose it could have served to alleviate pressure within internal architectural elements. Additionally, there are speculations that it may lead to another concealed chamber yet to be uncovered within the pyramid's labyrinthine structure. However, unraveling the true nature and function of this enigmatic tunnel necessitates extensive research and time-consuming investigations. The Nubian egg controversies, 7,000 years old. It's no wonder that scholars are intrigued by the age of the Nubia egg, which has been estimated to be about 7,000 years old. This date stands in stark contrast to the widely accepted timeline for the construction of the pyramids, estimated to be around 4,600 years ago. This substantial chronological difference of more than 2,000 years prompts thought-provoking questions. How did an artifact created thousands of years before the pyramids come to depict these grand structures? Could this suggest that the pyramids are significantly older than commonly believed? Some experts argue that the triangles on the egg might symbolize mountains rather than pyramids. However, a closer examination of the artwork reveals intricate symmetry and distinct horizontal lines that are inconsistent with natural mountain formations. This precision indicates deliberate design elements not typically found in depictions of natural landscapes. Moreover, traditional dating methods such as carbon-14 dating, commonly used for organic materials, may not accurately determine the age of stone constructions like the pyramids or the timing of hieroglyphic additions. There is a possibility that hieroglyphs were incorporated into the pyramids at later periods, especially during phases of Egyptian architectural repurposing. The debate surrounding the age of the Giza pyramids has a complex history marked by skepticism towards traditional dating methods and allegations of data manipulation. Colonel Howard Weiss's discovery of painted marks within the Great Pyramid's relieving chambers, supposedly indicating Khufu's name, has been a central point of contention. Initially pivotal for dating the pyramid, this finding has since faced doubts and accusations of fabrication. This case underscores the critical importance of thorough scrutiny of historical findings and the integrity of researchers involved. On the contrary, alternative viewpoints supported by evidence propose that the pyramids might be older, potentially dating back around 8,000 years. These conflicting perspectives highlight ongoing debates within archaeological and Egyptological circles, stressing the necessity of meticulous analysis and collaborative efforts across disciplines to decode ancient enigmas. Researchers delve into alignments between the pyramids and astronomical phenomena, hinting at ancient cultural sophistication. Additionally, researchers explore geological indicators such as weathering patterns to argue for the advanced capabilities of ancient civilizations. Dr. Robert Schoch's work, for instance, delves into these geological clues, emphasizing erosion patterns as evidence of older construction dates. These discussions reflect the dynamic nature of historical inquiries, where interpretations evolve with new findings and interdisciplinary insights, challenging established narratives and inviting deeper explorations into ancient history. Robert Schoch and the Sphinx. A geologist and professor at Boston University, Dr. Robert Schoch focused his research on the Sphinx, which has stood sentinel over the Giza pyramids for millennia. His interest in the age of the Sphinx was piqued by distinct erosion patterns that seemed inconsistent with typical wind and sand erosion, crucial factors due to Egypt's climate. Instead, these patterns suggested prolonged exposure to heavy rainfall, leading to significant weathering on the limestone bedrock of the Sphinx. According to standard Egyptological thinking, the Great Sphinx was carved from the limestone bedrock on the orders of the Old Kingdom pharaoh Khafre, around 2500 BCE. Supporting evidence indicates that such climatic conditions have not been present in the Giza Plateau for thousands of years. In 1990, he embarked on his first trip to Egypt alongside John Anthony West, a journey detailed in Forgotten Civilization and Origins of the Sphinx. Their primary objective was to scrutinize the Great Sphinx through a geological lens. Initially, he operated under the assumption that the Egyptologists' dating of the Sphinx was accurate. However, his geological observations soon diverged from the Egyptologists' conclusions. Upon scrutinizing the Sphinx's physical structure and the surrounding walls of its enclosure, he observed distinct erosion patterns that he concluded could have been caused only by heavy rainfall and subsequent water runoff. This finding posed a notable contradiction because the Sphinx resides in close proximity to the Sahara Desert, a region known for its arid climate over approximately the last 5 millennia. Conversely, structures dating back to the Old Kingdom display erosion characteristics that are notably attributed to wind and sand, indicating a clear disparity from the erosion patterns caused by water. Schoch and West utilized seismic investigations to validate their hypothesis regarding the age of the Sphinx, employing a method involving a sledgehammer striking a steel plate to generate sound waves. These waves would penetrate the rock, bounce back, and return to the surface, providing crucial insights into the composition of the underlying limestone bedrock. Upon thorough analysis of the collected seismic data, Schoch deduced that the substantial depth of subsurface weathering indicated an age for the core body of the Sphinx dating back to at least 5000 BCE, or potentially an even earlier period, as supported by the data. During their seismic studies, Schoch and West also made intriguing discoveries regarding the Sphinx's structure. They identified evidence pointing to a cavity or chamber located beneath the left paw of the Sphinx, sparking speculations among some researchers who suggested that this cavity might hold significance as a hall of records. Additionally, they observed several smaller cavities already documented in previous studies beneath and around the Sphinx. Furthermore, their data hinted at the existence of a tunnel-like feature extending the length of the Sphinx, although further exploration and analysis would be necessary to confirm these findings conclusively. Schoch's extensive study and analysis led him to propose that the core body of the Great Sphinx likely originated much earlier than previously believed, potentially around 5000 BCE, with recent research pointing to an even older time frame around the end of the last ice age, circa 10,000 BCE. This era marked a significant shift in climate, characterized by increased precipitation levels and a notably different environment. The implications of this discovery are profound, suggesting that the Sphinx's construction may precede the formation of the Sahara Desert. Schoch's observations of the Sphinx's enclosure revealed distinct erosion patterns, such as vertical and undulating marks, typically associated with water-induced erosion. Several other geologists, collaborating with Schoch, have verified these features as consistent with rainfall erosion. This aligns with historical climatic data indicating a wetter climate during the Neolithic subpluvial period, roughly spanning from 10,000 to 5000 BCE, when the Sahara region supported substantial water bodies like rivers and lakes. These findings challenge established timelines, suggesting that the Sphinx and the Giza pyramids could have been built before the traditional dynastic periods of ancient Egypt. Corresponding ancient texts also allude to earlier construction dates for these iconic structures, further supporting the notion of an ancient origin. These insights encourage a reevaluation of our understanding of ancient civilizations, their technological capabilities, and their interactions with the environment during different climatic epochs. Al-Masudi didn't like Pharaoh Khufu. One example of such alternative interpretations comes from Abul Hassan Ali al-Masudi, an ancient Egyptian historian who proposed a different builder for the Great Pyramid than Pharaoh Khufu. Al-Masudi, having extensively traveled throughout the known world of his time before residing in Egypt, authored a comprehensive 30-volume history of the world. He was deeply impressed by the grandeur of the Egyptian pyramids and detailed the methods he believed were used to transport their massive stone blocks. Al-Masudi described a method for moving stones that commenced with positioning a magic papyrus underneath them. Using a metal rod, the stone was struck to initiate levitation, allowing it to glide along a pathway defined by stones and metal poles. This movement spanned about 50 meters before the stone descended to the ground. Builders replicated this process as needed until the stone reached its specified location. Al-Masudi's detailed accounts of pyramid construction techniques opened doors to fascinating debates on their origins. One hypothesis suggests that these narratives could have originated from oral traditions passed down through generations in Egypt. The fantastical elements interwoven into the tales hint at a rich oral folklore that might have preserved such knowledge over time. Another viewpoint posits that these narratives might be imaginative creations by a skilled writer, akin to contemporary speculations about mystical forces influencing pyramid construction. Serious consideration of these narratives invites inquiries into the proposed levitation methods implied in the tales. Could the impact of stones have generated vibrations conducive to sonic levitation? Alternatively, did specific arrangements of stones and rods harness magnetic forces for levitation purposes? However, modern science lacks coherent explanations or evidence for such phenomena, leaving us with uncertainties regarding ancient technological prowess. These discussions underscore the ongoing mysteries surrounding ancient Egyptian accomplishments and provoke contemplation about lost or non-existent knowledge in contemporary times. These narratives also reflect humanity's enduring fascination with the enigmatic and the unknown, particularly regarding ancient marvels. They inspire continued exploration, investigation, and scholarly inquiry into deciphering the secrets of ancient civilizations, reinforcing the timeless allure of ancient wonders and the quest for understanding our shared human heritage. Al-Masudi proposed that the construction of the Great Pyramid was overseen by a ruler named Suid, a figure he intricately tied to the biblical character Enoch. In Al-Masudi's narrative, Suid is depicted as a sagacious leader who possessed foresight regarding a cataclysmic flood event. Motivated by this foresight, Suid allegedly commissioned the pyramid's construction not merely as a monumental tomb, but as a repository of knowledge, safeguarding the essence of civilization. This interpretation echoes themes found in pre-Islamic North African cultures, where celestial motifs often intertwined with religious and funerary practices. Such cultural backgrounds prompt skepticism regarding conventional pyramid dating methodologies. For instance, scrutiny has emerged regarding the dual depictions of pyramids on the Nubia egg. Could these representations symbolize broader seasonal or global concepts, reflecting the pyramids and the Nile River during contrasting dry and wet periods? The varying widths of the Nile depictions on the egg further suggest dynamic river volumes, potentially mirroring seasonal or temporal shifts. Consequently, the portrayal of pyramids and a river on the Nubia egg may symbolically capture the ebb and flow of seasonal changes or broader temporal transitions throughout the year. Was the Sphinx surrounded by a moat? Dr. Robert Schoch further investigated, using Robert Temple's hypotheses on the moat theory. According to Robert Temple, the water weathering on the Sphinx can be explained by a moat theory, which does not require the assumption that it dates back to an earlier period characterized by more rainfall than what is experienced today. Schoch found Temple's other hypotheses less convincing, such as the idea that the Sphinx represented the jackal deity Anubis. Anubis, associated with death and the afterlife, would typically face west, unlike the eastward-facing Sphinx. Additionally, Temple proposes that the face on the Sphinx resembles that of the Middle Kingdom pharaoh Amenemhet II, although it is worth noting that the original Sphinx has undergone reworking, including recarving of the head. During Schoch's expedition to Egypt, he meticulously investigated the Great Sphinx, honing in on specific observations that shed light on its ancient history. Of particular interest were the Sphinx Temple and the adjacent Valley Temple, both constructed using stones excavated during the original Sphinx enclosure carving. These structures exhibited significant weathering on their core blocks, indicative of past heavy rainfall. Intriguingly, these limestone constructions underwent later refurbishment, using Aswan granite during the Old Kingdom era. This chronology is crucial as it establishes that the substantial weathering predates the granite additions, challenging the moat theory's explanatory power regarding early erosion phenomena. Noteworthy was the distinct pattern of erosion across the Sphinx enclosure. The western region displayed pronounced surface erosion, contrasting sharply with the comparatively minimal erosion evident on the eastern side. This pattern closely correlates with historical precipitation data and regional hydrological conditions, casting doubt on theories positing standing water within the enclosure. In-depth analyses further revealed that the upper layers of the middle stratum within the Sphinx enclosure, especially on its western aspect, bore the brunt of severe erosion consistent with extended exposure to rainfall. This observation contradicts expectations under the moat theory, which would anticipate intensified erosion on the enclosure's eastern side due to hypothetical water channels. Instead, the actual erosion patterns strongly align with the effects of natural rainfall across various strata within the enclosure. These findings collectively challenge existing theories and underscore the complexity of understanding ancient structures' origins and environmental interactions. They encourage further multidisciplinary investigations to unravel the nuanced histories embedded within these enduring monuments of human civilization. Seismic data meticulously analyzed and calibrated by Schoch provides compelling insights into the age and environmental interactions surrounding the Sphinx enclosure. This analysis points to a conservative minimum age of approximately 7,000 years for the core body of the Sphinx, with a more plausible time frame aligning closer to around 12,000 years ago. These conclusions are derived from a comprehensive understanding of the depth of weathering below the Sphinx enclosure's floor, offering crucial context to its ancient origins. Importantly, these findings challenge notions that standing water within the enclosure significantly influenced the rate of weathering beneath its surface. Further examination of the vertical fissures within the walls of the Sphinx enclosure yields critical information about their formation mechanisms. The distinct characteristics of these fissures unequivocally indicate their origin from precipitation and subsequent water runoff. Contrary to alternative theories proposed by Robert Temple, such as artificial dredging, the observed features align more closely with natural erosional processes driven by water. Exploring the implications of a hypothetical water pool surrounding the Sphinx leads to logical deductions regarding water levels and structural integrity. Either the water levels surrounding the Sphinx corresponded with the local water table, or the enclosure's components, including walls and floors, were deliberately sealed and made waterproof. This scenario necessitates robust engineering, especially for artificial walls facing potential water pressure, notably on the enclosure's eastern end. Interestingly, despite the present topographical disparity, where the western end of the Sphinx enclosure sits at a higher elevation compared to the eastern end, distinct water erosion patterns are evident even at these elevated western areas. In summary, the moat theory lacks substantial support when scrutinized against these detailed geological and structural considerations. Old World and the New America Continent, the Mysterious Book. The discovery of paintings in Hanis, also known as Nin in historical records, showcasing both the Old World and the American continent, has ignited debates about ancient Egyptian awareness of the Americas long before European contact. Hanis, once the religious and political epicenter of Upper Egypt during pre-dynastic eras, housed a plethora of artifacts, yet none as captivating as the map-bearing paintings. Scholars swiftly discerned that these artworks transcended mere decoration, meticulously delineating continent outlines with astonishing accuracy. A cursory review of the paintings unveils a remarkably detailed representation of the American continent. Such precision in geographic depiction naturally raises inquiries about the source of this knowledge among ancient Egyptian artists. The painting's intricate details and accurate representations prompt contemplation regarding how these artists acquired such comprehensive knowledge about a distant continent like America. The underlying question remains: What mechanisms or exchanges facilitated this deep understanding among ancient Egyptians? One possible interpretation is that the artists and their society possessed knowledge of the American continent's existence or had direct interactions with indigenous peoples from the Americas. These discoveries imply potential ancient ties and exchanges that could revolutionize our perception of early civilizations and their global engagements. Such indications propose the occurrence of transoceanic voyages long before renowned explorers like Christopher Columbus set sail, questioning whether ancient Egyptians conducted voyages across the Atlantic much earlier than commonly believed. It prompts speculation about substantial interactions between Egyptian civilization and American culture. In addition to depicting the American continent, these artworks also include precise maps of Europe, impressing observers with their accuracy. These details hint at a broader understanding of global geography or possible interactions between different civilizations, challenging traditional narratives of ancient isolationism. The maps discovered in the paintings meticulously depict Europe, Asia, and Africa, featuring notable landmarks such as the Nile River, the Mediterranean Sea, and prominent mountain ranges. The accuracy observed in these maps suggests that the mapmakers either embarked on exploratory journeys or had access to a comprehensive repository of geographical information. This knowledge could have been amassed over time through extensive trade networks or far-reaching expeditions. Scholars also admired the artistic finesse exhibited in these paintings, highlighting the mastery demonstrated by the painters through their use of natural pigments and intricate line work. Their remarkable craftsmanship challenges conventional beliefs about the earliest interactions between non-native peoples and the Americas. These findings prompt a reassessment of historical timelines and the intricate web of ancient global exchanges. Now, let's delve into some captivating recent archaeological discoveries. Did ancient civilizations possess knowledge that has since been lost to science? Were amazing technologies available to the ancient Egyptians that enabled them to construct the pyramids? Technologies that have somehow been forgotten? We might never know. Thanks for watching. Check out another interesting video by clicking on the link appearing on your screen right now. See you on the other side.